Anybody with any decent football IQ whatsoever knew what has happened in the past couple weeks for Colorado. This was going to happen because they're not that good. Okay, it's plain and simple. They were never really that good. Okay, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's reality. All right, there we go. Let's make this a very short and simple and sweet video. Colorado and Oregon State just got done wrapping up, and last game of the night outside of UCLA and Arizona. I want to be extremely careful when I say this. Actually, no, I'm just going to come out and say it. Y'all know I love Deion Sanders and everything they got going on there. But what I saw in the first three quarters, trust me, I'll talk about the fourth quarter in just a second. But what I saw in the first three quarters of tonight's game, it was an embarrassment. It really was. I don't know how to describe it any other way. It was an atrocious display. Yeah, that's a better way to describe it. What I saw in the first three quarters was an atrocious display of college football. You could say the defense played a little bit better. Oh, but you know what? I'll put it up right here. Because somebody tweeted at me saying, yo, Matt, the Colorado defense is playing better than that. What you think? And in my head, I'm like, what? Because I'm pretty sure. Hold on. Let me pull it up here. Yeah, Arizona's going to beat UCLA. But let me pull it up. I'm still pretty sure that Colorado gave up 400 total yards or something like that. Yeah, you still gave up 418 total yards. So I guess you could argue and say your defense played better because you're normally giving up 550 yards. But it still wasn't good. Okay, Oregon State was marching up and down the field, running with ease. I'm actually curious, how many rushing yards did Oregon State have? Yeah. 195. They could really had your way with you, and the score is deceiving. If you're a casual fan or you didn't stay up and watch this game, and you see, Oregon State only won 26-19, I bet this was a heck of a ball game. You'd be so, you don't even know, bro. You don't even know. You'd be so mistaken because this was not a ball game whatsoever. That's the most deceiving score you're ever going to see. Good gosh almighty, 26-19. I can't even say enough. It's beyond deceiving. It wasn't a game. It wasn't a game. Not even close. And at the end, I thought Deion Sanders, so let me break this down for y'all. Colorado, they score at the end. Actually, I'm getting too far ahead of myself. Let me just break this down first. The offense, the first three quarters, what was it? At halftime, didn't they have 50 yards or was it 70 something like? Or was it the first three quarters they had 78 total yards of offense? And remember, they had a new play call for this game. So, we fixed the problem. We're going to have a new guy calling plays. It wasn't the problem, man. The problem is your offensive line's awful. And also, it's weird because your defense has been trash. Your defense was one of the worst defenses in the country to start the season. That hasn't changed. But now, your offense is getting worse, and you can't afford that. You simply can't because you got to score at bare minimum pretty much 35 points per game just to be in games. Not win them, but to be in them. In this game, probably the best your defense has looked all year, you didn't capitalize on it. You held Oregon State to 26 points. And plus, you got the lucky, or not lucky, but you made the play, the two-point conversion at the end where Oregon State decided to get ballsy and not take the extra point and go for two. And then Colorado, they scored two off of it. So that was a three-point swing right there. Like I said, it goes back to the score being deceiving because it really wasn't that close. Oregon State dominated from start to finish. But it goes back to this. I would say just as far as it goes for Colorado from an offensive and defensive standpoint, it was an atrocious display of football, and that is the best way I can describe it. This was the worst. This game was the worst I thought Colorado has looked all year long, even including the Oregon game. I know, that's hard to believe because a lot of people are going to say, well, Matt, Oregon beat them by 40. I get it. Okay, I get it. But Oregon was just a better team. You could chalk that up to, there's bigger, stronger, faster. In this game, It was just bad, man. It was bad. Now, we got the bad out of the way. It was a bad display of football the first three quarters, or you could even say 3.5 quarters. But in the fourth quarter, and if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my stats here. Colorado turned it on. I think the last two drives, they had like 150 total yards. Outside the very last one that Or, no. Yeah. Counting the last one because they didn't get the ball back. My apologies. I thought they got the ball back. Yeah. Last couple of drives, Colorado had 150 yards, and all throughout the first 3.5 quarters, they had 78 or 80-something yards. That was kind of head-scratching because it's like, how can you move the ball at the very end of the game, but you couldn't move it for 3 quarters? Maybe that's just, a part of me is wanting to chalk that up to Oregon State just sort of gave up and it's like, oh, yeah, we're going to win. We're not going to try anymore. But I do want to give credit to Colorado because they turned it around. Travis Hunter got a touchdown at the end. And the offense for Colorado was clicking at the end, but it was too late. Okay, it's too late. You can't show up in the fourth quarter and start scoring. You should have been doing that. I don't know, man. Maybe we need to talk about this in a video in the upcoming week. But I'm starting to think, and this is just my wild conspiracy theory, that some of these players got beef, or the offensive line has beef with Shedeur Sanders. Because it doesn't make sense at how bad they are. It doesn't. Every single play, the dude's getting hit. Not once every other play. Not one every 3 or 4 plays. Every single play, Shedeur Sanders is getting hit. They can't do anything. They can't. And like I said, it looks so much worse when the offense is bad because the defense isn't going to be that good. Now, the defense played a little bit better today, but like I said, you still gave up 418 total yards. So, yeah, you was better than your normal Colorado defense, but compared to the national average, that's not too hot. I don't know where you go from here. I've tried to take and tell you guys to take a positive out of every single game as a Colorado fan. You're rebuilding. You got to look at this as a 3, 4, 5 year rebuild. But I don't know what positive you could take away from this game. And like I've said the past couple of weeks, moving forward, you're not favored in any. So this 2 weeks ago, you're not favored in your next 5 games. In the first 2, you're 0-2. In the next 3, you're not going to be favored. There's a great chance and possibility you don't win another football game. Now, I do also want to throw this in there. Colorado fans, you've already this year overexceeded expectations. Anybody with any decent football IQ whatsoever knew what has happened in the past couple weeks for Colorado. This was going to happen because they're not that good. Okay, it's plain and simple. They were never really that good. Okay, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's reality. What's making it so hard for your casual fan and everybody else is we saw how, I guess you could say, good they looked in their first couple of games of the season. How good, quote unquote, they looked against TCU and Nebraska. Ever since that, been downhill. Ever since the Colorado State, it's been downhill. But I'm going to go back to this. They weren't supposed to be good. How they're currently playing right now, this is how I thought they were going to play against TCU. Remember at the beginning of the season, I said, hey, I know they're going to lose to TCU. Matter of fact, if they beat TCU, I shaved my head bald. That's how, because the reason I said that is because I was confident how they've looked in the past couple weeks is how they're going to play against TCU. It just so happens that against TCU, they decided to play out of their minds and everything went together and we saw how that went. And what happened was in those first couple of weeks, or even at the Colorado State game when they started out 3-0, it raised the expectations for everybody else and it somewhat convinced everybody, well, dang, maybe this Colorado team is ahead of schedule. When in reality, they're not. I want to keep this short and simple. They're simply not that good. If you can't understand that, I don't know what to tell you, and I can't help you. I'm sorry. I tried telling people in the offseason Colorado's going 5-7, and it's looking like my prediction is spot on. And I want some respect in the comments section. Because all during the offseason, all I heard from everybody is, Matt, you're stupid. We're winning 8 games, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. It's been crickets. I'm just saying, man. I always admit when I'm wrong, so it'd be kind of nice if some of you reciprocated that same energy, but it's really not a big deal. The point is they're not that good, and they're not going to be good. They're not going to be good the rest of the year, and they're probably not going to be good next year, but that's a different conversation for a different day. Shedeur Sanders, yet again, if you want me to talk about him, it's same story, new week. He's surviving. He's fighting to stay alive. Feel bad for the kid. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the country, at least in my humble opinion. But he hasn't been able to showcase. You can't showcase it. He doesn't have an O-line. It is what it is. I could sit up here for the next 25 minutes and tell you Colorado sucks and they're not a good football team, but I think if you watch this game and the game before, the game before, the game before, you somewhat know that. There's not too much to be said after a game like this. Like I said, don't let the score deceive you. If you didn't watch this game, I would advise you to watch the first half just to see how bad Colorado actually looked, especially on offense. That's all I got, man. I'm curious. Let me know your thoughts down below.